Hi, everyone, and welcome back to episode 2 of the Love is Blind podcast.
Hello, hello. I am Allie,
I'm Andre.
and we are here to guide you through the latest episode of the latest season of the Netflix show Love is Blind.
Yes, and of course, we're on episode 2, already had some technical difficulties. So unfortunately, our watch along of the first time watching this episode, titled Can I Talk to You for Real, is lost. So instead, we're going to be
It's a
doing
sad thing.
yeah.
We're going to do a summary. We will resume the talk along format in future episodes. And if we have time, we will go back and redo episode 2. But we wanted to get these to you sooner rather than later. So
Yeah.
you get a summary today, and you'll be happy for it.
Yeah. Don't ask for more.
All right.
Well, I mean, you could, but please do ask.
It's a free podcast. All right. Jeez, you should be apologizing to us.
Don't push away our audience. It's a little too early.
All right. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. If you liked that emotional roller coaster, then you will love episode 2.
Yeah,
titled,
episode 2.
Can I talk to you for real?
Can I talk to you for real? And the episode description was, one participant feels the pain of an unrequited crush. Ooh. Who could that be? Could it be Lydia? Another makes a heartfelt apology.
Disagree, but sure, it's described that way.
I mean, look, it was better than nothing.
Yeah.
And intensity builds between two people weighing other options.
Yes, and then one thing that wasn't even mentioned is the whole J.P. Taylor storyline.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So what we're going to do, since we don't have the play-by-play of the entire episode, we are going to kind of just describe the moments of this episode a little bit and just kind of summarize them. So we saw Lydia and Milton having a
Yes.
conversation
They
to start.
us off in their beachside date. And Lydia's opening up about how Izzy rejected her, and Milton is providing a deep and empathetic ear, opens up about himself a little bit, and the connection between the two grows. What are your thoughts on this scene?
I mean, definitely you could see Lydia becoming more interested in Milton as he talked more about his life and began opening up a little bit. I mean, he was pretty upfront about the fact that he isn't very good at opening up, and he's being made to feel as though he can open up to Lydia, which is I thought it was cute, and I think it may be swaying her away from the he's too young for me.
So are you liking them as a couple?
I think they could be cute. I mean, I think Milton is. I really like Milton. Let's just put it this way. I think he's real adorable, and I do like the fact that they're both into rocks. That part's pretty great.
That is pretty cute. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's something authentic about this scene, in the sense that she's recovering from this rejection, and I can see how she would be warming towards him after everything that happened with Izzy, and him being just like a soft place to land. But I don't see them working out as a couple. I think they will be couples for purposes of the pods.
Right.
And then they'll get engaged. I think they'll do the whole Love is Blind thing. But I think as soon as they're out of the pods, we're going to be seeing Lydia having second thoughts. And
I mean, maybe Milton too.
Yeah.
This might be a Paul and what was her name? Micah
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Where he seems to be a little into it, but then he kind of gets cold feet.
No, I think it's going to be more of a Jackie and what was his name from last season? Really?
You're not going to get help with names from me, babe.
All right, y'all know. Okay. She
Me and
leaves him
names.
for Josh.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I think it's
yeah.
going to be more of that situation where he's like the solid, safe choice, and she very quickly is not into it.
Yeah,
But
indeed. We do get to see Lydia falling over in her chair.
yeah, she literally falls down.
And the Netflix metaphor for she's kind of falling for him.
Yes, and then the song, I believe there's a song choice that's like, I'm falling for you in
Yeah.
that moment.
We certainly have the our next next
jump
couple
ahead.
is to JP and Taylor. And JP and Taylor, you know, like we're seeing strong moves from the very beginning. You know, they are clearly getting close. We're getting more American flag from JP. Always great to get a little bit of American flag from JP.
And that one pair of shoes that I like of Taylor's, but that seemingly are her only shoes that she brought.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't JP. He wore cowboy boots, right?
Yes, I think he's wearing them in this scene,
Yeah,
actually.
right.
Yes. Yes, they get closer. I think this is where he opens up about his childhood, which, by the way, the theme of this episode was, oh, here's my past trauma.
Yeah.
And even though it's unfortunate that we're doing this summary, I will say if there was any episode that probably is for the best, it's this one. Because it was just trauma dump after trauma dump after trauma dump.
You don't want play-by-play.
You don't want to play by play for that. You want to be able to process that on your own.
Yeah.
And feel compassion and, empathy towards these human beings. It was not the most riveting hour of podcasting though.
But I mean, you can certainly see where maybe JP kind of got into the idea of firefighting and just being, just taking care of people, you know, and the way he took care of his sisters, making sure that they were okay. It's interesting that he, I guess, now has like a good relationship with his mother, but yeah.
Yeah, because his mother's the one that called him sugar, but I don't know that he has a good relationship with his mother.
I mean, that's kind of, I believe that's what he says towards the end,
Yeah.
but yeah, unclear.
But yes, their relationship, they end up getting engaged in this episode. So we know that.
Spoilers.
Spoiler, you've seen. All right.
Okay.
I will withhold further opinion, though, even though I already spoiled it all.
So
Then we
there's
jump to Uche and Aaliyah.
Uche and Aaliyah, and then we get the apology, the aforementioned apology.
Spoiler. Speaking of spoiler.
Yeah, I mean, there was an apology. There was a little bit of a, I said some things wrong, and it's about me. It's about my stuff. You were less sold on it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's probably accurate to call it heartfelt in the sense that I think he was speaking to the best of his capacity in his apology. But I see big issues with Uche.
Right.
And I think the emotional dysregulation will continue to be an issue. And we've seen here that he can have this really almost vindictive side
Right.
come out. I think these two will end up getting engaged, but that will only get worse, And like Matt and Colleen were in season 3, where it was kind of hard to watch that relationship because
Right.
of the fights they would have. I feel like, I don't know if these two are going to be quite that bad, but I think they're going to be hard to watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the challenges about Uche is not only does he have this emotional regulation issue, it's that he also doesn't have the self-awareness about it. He doesn't seem to get how he fully comes off. He seems to have a very black and white view of what's right and what's wrong, and he unfortunately seems to not to have like a shadow. Have you ever met those people that have to, their own inner moral guidelines are so strict that they can't tolerate anything arguably immoral in themselves.
Yeah.
And so they split it. It's, splitting and projecting. It's a classic defense mechanism where he's got to be all good and she's maybe all bad, even though we find out in this same speech that he also cheated. Or I think maybe last episode we found out he cheated when he was 18, but it was just a kiss, so it was no big deal. But
Right.
Major red flags going off for me with Uche. He's the type that's perfectionistic from an angry place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, she accepts his apology in the end, so we know this is probably going to be moving forward. And I thought it was interesting how at the end he's like, "I'm going to take perspective." I was like, "Oh, this is a novel idea for you to take perspective." Anyway, we then move on to,
And she's got her stuff though too. I mean, like she seems to not really think that highly of herself, and it's probably pretty intense to be in the pods and have that connection with somebody, and you don't want that to go away. So probably there's a shock element happening for her. But also, she seems like she carries still a lot of shame about that whole past relationship, including her cheating. Uche tapped right into that shame. And so I think for her, she's going to make it work in part to seek like the absolution she won't be able to give herself.
right.
Anyway, those are my thoughts.
Yeah. A lot of thoughts on Uche and Aaliyah.
I got a lot of thoughts. Yes. I've had fewer thoughts on Izzy and Stacy or in the next scene.
Izzy and Stacy. I mean, we get a drunk Izzy. Who, oh wait, no. At this point,
he's not as drunk at this point.
This is at a later time. This is at this point, he's not drunk. He is maybe tipsy and opening up to
Leanne Rimes herself.
To Leanne Rimes, Stacy, about how he feels that she doesn't open up, and she says, but I'm fun though, right?
Yeah.
So I'm super fun. So why does that matter?
It's a combination of I'm fun and
isn't this what you always want?
Yes.
Yeah. If you have fun all the time, who needs to be vulnerable? Let's just have fun, everyone.
Right. What a mood.
Don't open up to anyone. Disneyland. What? Okay.
Yeah. So we'll leave them there for the time being, because we have to zoom right ahead to Izzy and. Johnny and Chris Fox first.
Johnny and Chris Fox first, where we see what I thought, their little massage date. I thought I was like, okay, this is the perfect couple. This is from, if I'm thinking of Love is Blind Brazil, they were giving me vibes of, gosh, of course I'm not going to remember his name. Manu? No. Mena.
Oh, Maria?
Yeah, Maria and Mena. Menandro, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. They were giving me those vibes, and I was like, oh, they're going to be cute. This is going to be great. And apparently at the end of this, there's not a whole lot of information that comes out of it, but what we do get is a little bit later Johnny saying, oh, I just got friend vibes. Because then we do see Johnny and Izzy in the very next scene.
Hitting it off.
A little bit, except...
it's not yet because she has to end things with Chris Fox first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she says, I think I'm going to say bye to number 2.
Yeah. So can we talk about her dynamic with Chris Fox?
Dynamic with Chris Fox, but, before we move on to the Chris Fox, breakup. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think that they were really cute. They were doing they were... seeming to be getting along, but I think from her perspective, it was just like, I guess, more friends.
Oh, no, remember? Is this where he opens up about losing his virginity? This was part of his trauma dump, right?
Right.
Yeah, we can't skip ahead past that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, him opening up about terrible experience in Mexico and yeah, like she feels closer to him and
Yeah.
he seems like a genuinely nice guy.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
really into them
Yeah.
together. I think that would have been a fun relationship to continue to see.
I think he's better for her than Izzy is.
Than Izzy
But
is.
Izzy is sexier and she's drawn to the bad boy, right? I mean, she has that ex.
Mm-hmm.
She keeps talking about how she makes bad decisions in dating, and well, here you go.
Yep.
Right? So,
Yeah. And then about halfway through the episode, we see JP in a suit. Presumably, it's like day 10 or something, because these are always we're tracking one relationship at a time throughout the period in the pods. So this is probably pretty late on, and we see little clips of them getting
their
along.
highlights, their
Um,
best ofs.
Yeah. She's trying to take her socks off with her mouth. That made me wonder if they get especially if they get married, if they get video of them in the pod, like more video.
Oh, maybe.
Do you think the show just gives them like a little like reel tape? Like, this is you guys getting to know it. That would be kind of cute.
That would be cute, yeah. And then she walks in, day of, in a white dress, and he's in a suit, and we all know what's going to happen.
And he's real sweet, and he gets emotional, and yeah, it was really nice. It was a really cute. It was a cute,
very cute
situation.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And then we flip over to Chris Fox, seemingly getting ready to tell Johnny, let's do this, only to find out that Johnny has changed her mind.
Yeah. I wonder, because we did essentially fast forward to see JP and Taylor in some sense, and now we're probably, this is what, day 3 or something, or day 4, you think, maybe? Actually back in the past at some point. But man, I felt for Chris Fox.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the worst decision, I think she's going to... I guess we have to do the whole dynamic between Johnny and Izzy and Stacy and Chris Fox before... Let's get to that part in the episode, and then we can give our thoughts on the whole deal.
I mean, you gotta love how often they cut to Stacy just for reaction shots to other drama happening in her little circle. That they just cut to her and she's just kind of like looking over, like, you
Yeah.
talking about me?
Every shot of Stacy in the living quarters is, first of all, she's always alone. So I don't know if that's just coincidental or if she really hasn't made friends with anybody else there. And which is plausible and would be, of course, a red flag. But she's always just like skulking around in the background trying to get the tea on her man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she was pretty much like, I'm fun, be with me. I'm fun, be
Right.
with me.
I am just fun all the time.
And
And here Chris Fox comes back and he's opening up about what happened to him.
and it's real
He's feeling
sad.
sad. But notably, he's very like, I respect that she told me. He's very respectful of her,
Yeah.
even though he's freshly processing a rejection.
I remember as you were watching this, you were like, I'm liking Chris Fox. more and more."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like him. Yeah.
Okay, so now we get to the Izzy is drunk scene,
Yes.
where you can tell just like the slow eyelids and like the looking into one corner of the room
Yeah.
as Johnny is just like
Revealing some...
revealing like a history,
History,
just
yeah.
a lot of, again, all of our past trauma, but it's on TV, and
It's
she's
all trauma dumping
she's quietly
all the time.
she's
Did
quietly
we find out about Izzy's Jehovah's Witness pass in this one too?
yeah, well,
yeah, it's just
yeah.
trauma dump after trauma dump, and man, all right, I get it, right?
yeah, and then we find out that
I've never been so Team Stacy in my life.
so she loved one person who passed away, and then she married somebody else but did not love that person.
Did he pass away? I know that.
Yeah,
he-
so yeah, her
was an
first love,
addict.
yeah, he passed away of a drug overdose. So,
Oh,
yeah.
wow. Okay.
So that's part of the, part of Izzy's reaction is to that piece. But then her saying, the only person I've ever loved died. And he's
Was
like, you
him.
mean not the
Not the one
person you
you
married?
married? The question we were all
Um,
asking. And she's very clear that no,
yeah.
which I hope her ex is not watching this show.
Yeah. I mean, but also just like the blank stare that he's just like staring off to everything. He's just
And
saying, I'm
his
just processing.
nodding head and everything. Yeah, this guy is trashed.
And in the end, he just like dips. He's like, this isn't fun
Bye.
anymore. I need to be somewhere else.
Right. Right.
Um, so that didn't go very well.
And then people we've never seen before
We
comfort her back in the pods.
yeah, we're introduced to Renee and Paige,
Yeah.
who comfort Johnny a little bit. And then we have
Then we get
Taylor
back
kind
to
of
Taylor.
who's
Wait, we need to debrief on the whole Johnny Izzy sitch.
Johnny Izzy
What do you
Sitch.
think of that whole quadrangle
I just
square?
I'm starting to see, I'm starting to see more of Valmir and Izzy of Love Is Blind Brazil. I'm starting to see that there's that aspect of him. I think the seeing him drunk definitely gave me that vibe. Just a little bit, just a big guy staring off into space, slow eyelids. But yeah, I don't know. I think he's
Who do you think he'll choose?
obviously I'd rather him and Stacy end up together, and then like Johnny just like, because the other thing is that Johnny heard that essentially heard that Chris Fox was having a hard time and was unhappy about it, obviously.
Yeah.
But it would be kind of nice if she changed her mind and realized, oh yeah, I said at the beginning of this I make poor mistakes, and then I leaned in hard into a bad mistake.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that she'll let that experience with Izzy to kind of be a wake up call to be like, oh, okay, so yet another person who like judges me, and I mean, yet another. I don't necessarily know anything else about her past other than the fact that she said that she makes bad relationship choices. Yeah. And then well, actually no, I want to get your idea. What's your view on this relationship between Izzy, Johnny, Lizzie, Chris?
Lizzie. Yeah, I don't think
Lizzie?
Stacy. Izzy, Johnny, Lizzie, Dizzy.
Tizzy, Rizzy, Mizzy, Shizzy.
I think that Johnny and Izzy are a bad idea as a couple. I mean, honestly, I think Chris Fox is the one I like most of the bunch by a long way. And so for that reason, because I want him to end up partnered, I'm like wanting Johnny to reconcile with him. But it's, I don't know, it's like a Micah Kwame Chelsea thing, could
Right.
be, where they end up getting together and it really works out. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I hope so. I think Johnny would benefit more from being in a relationship with Chris than from being with Izzy, because Chris will really understand her, and Izzy's got unprocessed that. Here's the thing is, like, there's been all these trauma dumps in this episode, which, hey, respect that. I'm a trauma therapist. Like, I have a deep respect for that process of healing. But what's noteworthy to me is that none of the people seem to have done their work around that.
Right.
And so it's not just that they have had these traumatic experiences. It's that, I don't know whether it's age or something, but they don't seem to have worked through any of it. And there's really good raw material there. They just would need to integrate. Like, Izzy seems like a good person at his core. And it sounds like a lot of his life, his early life in particular, was probably marked with feeling out of place, feeling not attuned to, maybe needing to be quiet, like not a lot of mirroring, all of that stuff that's going to give the type of attachment wounding that we're seeing with him. And he doesn't, he seems to really get triggered and shut down. And I think that's what we see a lot in his conversation with, like, I think he's got this feeling of being abandonable, and I think that comes up a lot. So he's probably going to end up going with Stacy just because, you know, it's not vulnerable right now and he's got stuff, but yeah, he seems like a good person, just needs to work through it. At the same time, I'm sure Stacy's got her stuff too. You don't just become that resistant to opening up unless you have a reason to be. And
Right,
we don't
right.
know what her past is, but I'm guessing it's something. Johnny shared a lot, and she is healing. It's addicting of itself to be loved by an addict. There's like a fervor that love can feel like, where you're the only thing that matters to them in the world, and that's addicting. And if she has also this like underlying, this is addicting to everybody, but if you have this need to feel loved and safe because of your own attachment traumas, it's very hypnotic to be loved by someone where it seems so all consuming like that.
Right,
You know? So, I
right.
mean, I just see 3 people that I would love if they were able to do that work on themselves, because they seem like good people.
I mean, maybe that's the work of the pods, though. I'm sure that there's something incredibly therapeutic about being in a room where you kind of feel like you're talking to yourself, but you are talking to a voice that's just on the other side of a wall and is trying to get to know you. I think it's encouraged people to a place of vulnerability that I don't think most of them expected. Because there is a lot of opening up, and there's also a lot of, I don't tell people this, or this isn't
Yeah.
something that I've ever really brought up before, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, so it's the pods.
Definitely. I think it probably is very conducive to being vulnerable in the pods, but I think they all have deeper work than 10 days in the pods is going to give you. But we'll see how that plays out. I just feel like a sadness in my heart for watching this dynamic.
Right.
And finally we come to
JP and Taylor.
about to see each other for the first time. The episode cuts off here, which of course we knew it would, because that's Netflix for you. But yeah, they're about to see each other for the first time.
Yeah, that's
This couple seems like remarkably unremarkable,
Yeah, I think they'll do great.
They seem fine. They don't have the same like appeal to me that I feel like Love is Blind tries to choose a flagship couple to kind of shepherd you through the season. And I personally think the stars of that are Lauren and Cameron season 1, and then Tiffany and Brett from last season. And I think they're trying to make JP and Taylor like cut from that same cloth, but I just am not invested in them the same way that I was with the others. I don't know.
Right.
But that said, I think they're a good couple, and I think they'll say yes at the altar.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
All
so
right.
that's our episode 2 recap. We'll be resuming, like we said, our watch along with episode 3 of season 5, and yeah,
Here we go.
here we go.
Will
Until next time.
we have been right? I will say this: if you had been watching the watch along, I did tototally call that not only in JP and Taylor were going to get engaged, but that Netflix was going to highlight them for this episode. Because I know my reality TV. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye.